Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Welcome to the Big Meow podcast, brought to you by C.A.T.S Network. I'm your host, Angela Howard. And today I'm here with Connie Hill-Johnson. Her business is the Visiting Angels Senior Home Care. And we're going to find out more about Connie right now. Welcome, Connie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. Tell us about Visiting Angels.
Visiting Angels is a nationally franchised home care agency. And so I have been in business almost 21 years. And our primary purpose is to care for seniors in their own home environment who perhaps aren't ready, or it's not necessary for them to go to a facility, but they need assistance at home. And that's what we do, from a few hours a day to literally sometimes being with seniors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right. How did you come to start this business or to, join this franchise?
Wow, great question. I went through a downsizing. I have a graduate degree in healthcare management. And I went through a downsizing in 2001. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri, shortly after 9/11. And like many Americans, get that letter or that call that you don't have a job.
Oh.
And so I had saved up a little money and stepped back, and some close friends encouraged me to do something on my own. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. I need to find another job. And I really did not grow up in an entrepreneurial family. I didn't. Hardworking parents, but no one had a business. And I was reading a magazine, and it was Black Enterprise magazine, a business magazine primarily for African Americans.
Yeah.
And there was an article in there about the number of African Americans who were buying franchises. And I thought, interesting business model. So long story short, went online, read the article, which led me to another website, which led me to another website. And I finally get to a website where it was somewhat of a profile where you could put in how much money you had, your interests, your skills, your background, your talents. And then what popped out was a list of franchises that met my profile. And on the list was Visiting Angels. And I thought, that's a cute name. Let's see what this is about. And so as I read more, it was very relatable. My dad was at home and his health was failing, and he was getting home health care, skilled care. So I was used to people coming in to help my father. And so I did a little bit more digging. I'm very anal. Took me about 6 months, 7 months to pull the plug. It takes me a long time. And at that time, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay in St. Louis or move back to Cleveland, Ohio, which is my home. And my father had passed by then.
Oh.
And so at over 40, so you're going to be able to do the math real quick, I packed up my bags in St. Louis, moved back to Cleveland, moved into the house with my mother.
Wow.
And started the business out of the same home I grew up in.
What an amazing story, I have to say. My mother also passed last year, and she had wonderful people. So I know that hiring the right people is a big issue with your business. Do you have advice for other entrepreneurs or other businesswomen on how do you find the right people?
It is increasingly more challenging. I have to admit that. I think any of us can recognize the fact that across the country, wherever we go, we see help wanted signs, hire on the spot, come in and fill out an application. If you're breathing, we'll take you. The last few years, really kind of around when COVID started, give or take, it is just hard. And so we still do, we haven't changed in 21 years. We kind of do a pre-screen on the phone because we know what our minimum requirements are before we even think you should walk in the door. We don't want to waste that candidate's time. We don't want to waste our time. So we kind of like to think that when they walk in the door, they're at second base. I'm a baseball fan. You're at second base.
Yeah.
And so then we do the in-depth one-on-one, lots of role-playing questions. And for this business, in my mind, it's more about the heart to serve than the technical skills, because when you're taking care of someone in that person's home, it takes a special kind of person to deal with someone who's aging and who might have chronic illnesses. So yes, we validate their skill set and validate how much experience they have, but I need to hear about the challenges of the day when you're dealing with someone maybe who has dementia and they are just not in a good mood. How do you handle it? Or you just give someone a shower and they're all clean and they have an incontinent episode and you're thinking, oh, I got to do this again. Just those intangibles about personal interactions and your understanding of the aging process and knowing that every day is not going to be a great day. So picking the right people it's not easy. No. It is just not easy. But when you find them, oh, the joy and the music that is created when you find a good caregiver and you put them with the right senior, the relationship that's formed is so rich.
Yeah, especially for you, that employee-employer relationship is something that really needs to be sustainable, I can imagine. But I want to go back. I want to go back to that moment, because we have a lot of new coaches and authors and speakers on our show, or also women who are listening, who are in businesses or employees in a cubicle, not loving their job, thinking about going out on their own, or have gotten at least, their degree in coaching or their certification in coaching. You got to help me out with this. What bridged the gap for you? Because it's hard to go from, everything being done to you got to do it all now.
Oh, say it again. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah.
It is, I say to people all the time, working for yourself and being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you will ever do. It's one thing to work 9 to 5. And for most of us, most folks are working 9 to 5. When you go home, you may occasionally have things to do at home, occasionally on the weekend, but usually when you are out the door, you're out the door. Even in management positions that I had prior to becoming an entrepreneur. It's a 24/7 when you're starting out. I say to every single new person who says, I'm going to start my own business, whether it's a franchise or not, I said, depending on the kind of business, it's 24/7. I lived and breathed this business, and we answer our phones around the clock. So I remember before I could have staff, I had a cell phone like on my hip. And even after I finally gave it up because I could hire people, I could literally still feel like a vibration never go off, because I'm answering the phone at 8 o'clock at night. I'm sitting in the back at church. So if the phone vibrates, I tip out of church so I could answer the phone and say, visiting angels, this is Connie.
Is that the phantom phone syndrome?
I know it had to go on for 6 months where I could feel this vibration right here on my right hip. Yeah. But, again, for people who think this is a cakewalk, and folks, they look to the end or look down the road that this is the potential to make money. This is the potential to serve. This is the potential to be my own boss. But it's grinding until you get there. Yeah. It is, the rewards are not instantaneous. I asked myself so many times the first couple of years, what are you doing? Go get a real job. Why did you do this? But when you get to the other side, whatever that other side is, and success looks different for everybody, but when you get there, you can look back and say, how did I get through it? But I did. And you learn from your failures. I fell on my face so many times and made bad decisions. But if you're surrounded by some good counsel, and you don't think that you're Superwoman and can do it all, you can make it to the other side.
Okay, so you gave us a reality check. I give you that. Give us some inspiration. Give us some inspiration on going out on your own.
Oh my gosh. You know, women, number one, are very, usually we're collegial and we collaborate. You know, I think we're a little different than men who are just, I'm in this, I got it. I don't want to let anybody know that I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
And so the first thing is surround yourself with people who believe in you. And that could be male or female, but don't think you're in it by yourself. Don't think you're in it by yourself. Yes, it might be your business. So I had a good support system. And so I would encourage people to be inspired by your friends and maybe family, because they're going to be initially far more down days than up days.
Yeah.
And if my friends didn't lift me and say, but you've got this, Connie, you can do it. Remember back then when you were talking about it and there was this level of excitement, okay, you had a horrible day today and, you know, something happened with a worker or a client, you know, pull yourself up, let's go. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, again, back to recognizing that you don't know everything. Find your lane, find your niche, and then go get subject matter experts. I'm not a numbers person. I wasn't trying to pretend to be the finance guru or an accountant. So I immediately got a small business accountant. I didn't even know how to work QuickBooks. Wow. I didn't have to know anything about QuickBooks,
right?
You know? So I would say that, and then say, begin to give back early, because you will find that a business will suck you dry 24/7 if you let it. And you've got to step back and find yourself, whether it's in your community or doing some nonprofit work, where you are serving others, where you are giving back in your community. It'll do two things. Number one, it'll make you feel good. Number two, it's sort of a secret way to market your business. Because when you're out in the community and serving, folks are going to say, well, what do you do? And, you know, you have your little cards and you say, and so hopefully that will encourage some folks, but you're not by yourself. You know, women-owned businesses are the fastest growing.
Yeah.
Now. And so, and there's so many models out, whether it's franchise or do it on your own or go into business with a girlfriend. The sky's the limit for what we can do and what we should be doing more of.
Thank you so much for that. And you mentioned a word that is one of our buzzwords here at C.A.T.S, and that's collaborate. And that's what this network is all about, lifting each other up, whether you're starting out, just thinking about, or like you, a 21-year veteran.
Yeah.
The help that we can be for each other, because women love to collaborate. We don't want to compete.
And why reinvent the wheel? My feeling has always been, if I'm struggling in an area and I meet another woman, and doesn't even have to be, you know, in the same business as I'm in, but just another woman. I said, you know what? I need an employment attorney. And, you know, you start sharing that with your female colleagues and they may say, well, you know what? I'm working with a good employment attorney. Yeah. Let me introduce you, or I'm looking for another payroll provider, or I'm having difficulty in this area. Yeah. If we would open our mouths and collaborate more, you know, I might be able to do something to benefit her business. She might be able to do something to benefit my business.
Yes.
And so we're both lifting each other up. Yeah.
Yes, you are so speaking our language. Yeah. And so anyway, how do we find you?
Well, probably the best way is on LinkedIn. I am I'm not going to say I'm a LinkedIn junkie, but I try to post a lot on LinkedIn. As of late, it's been a little bit about business. It's been a lot about my community service. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. So I am a believer in giving back and serving your community. So I am been recently named the chairperson of the board of directors for the Cleveland Foundation here in Cleveland, and the first African-American woman ever to hold that position in 108 years of the foundation's history. Fantastic. So between juggling my business of Visiting Angels, and I have a wonderful staff, and then doing what I do in the city of Cleveland, keeps me busy. And so I'm trying to find that I don't really like this work-life balance. I don't like that word, but I'm trying to make sure I practice good self-care, that I'm taking
yes.
care of me so that I can continue to do the work and take care of seniors. I took care of my own mom. I
Mhm.
share that story. I had my aides take care of my own mom before she passed. And
Yeah,
she took her last breath at the house I grew up with one of my aides sitting by her side.
nice.
So what a
Yeah.
privilege to have this business and to be able to take care of my own mommy
Yeah.
before she left here.
So it's been our privilege to have you on today. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for spending time with us and giving us all those great tips. We really
Oh,
appreciate that here at C.A.T.S.
thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.